Hey guys, Jim here, 3 Count Thursday. This morning, Ryan and Matt had the chance to sit down and conduct an interview with Global Force Wrestling's Jeff Jarrett. Before we get to that interview, make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at 3 Count Thursday, and on Facebook, facebook.com/3 Count Thursday. Check out our show each and every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. on ngscsports.com. Check out our t-shirt sale, booster.com/3CT. That is booster.com/3CT. Now sit back and enjoy this interview with wrestling legend Jeff Jarrett.
Guys, I'm Ryan here with Matt from 3 Count Thursday. We are lucky and honored to sit down with a 4-time WCW Heavyweight Champion, 6-time WWE Intercontinental Champion, TNA Hall of Famer, and founder of Global Force Wrestling, the man himself, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, no, guys, I appreciate you having me on and looking forward to chatting, and we can talk about past, present, future, Global Force Wrestling, anything you guys want to talk about today. But I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, fantastic. Today we're actually going to pretty much stick to Global Force Wrestling and look at the future, what Jeff Jarrett's doing now and in the future. We'd love to have you back maybe some other time, talk about the past. But today we want to talk about the future. Starting with the whole idea of Global Force Wrestling. When did you get the idea of Global Force Wrestling, and can you explain to us the process of turning that idea into a reality that we see today?
Have you guys got a couple hours? Because it may take a while. December of 2013, I knew that, my time, the chapter of my life at TNA Wrestling had come to an end. I knew it was time to move on to the next phase or chapter in my life. And so I sort of sat back and looked at the landscape. And, my family's been in the wrestling business for over 70 years. So I certainly wasn't going to get out of the wrestling business when I left. But I just sit back and sort of surveyed, like I said, surveyed the landscape and looked at different things and knew that, probably at the very top of the list, just with technology, how it exists today, not just the social media, but the certain apps and everything that goes in distributing a product, that it was going to be a monumental task, a challenge, but something that I'm up for. I love this business more today and have a passion for it more today than I've ever been. So started putting the pieces of the puzzle together and looked at different things that had transpired over the years. And it goes without saying that I have a philosophy that, probably over the last 10 to 15 years, each organization in wrestling almost acts as if other organizations don't exist. And I've got a 180-degree difference in philosophy and started to line up through my existing relationships and developing new ones, the different promotions around the world. New Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan and AAA in Mexico were right at the top of the list. And then you can, go on from South Africa to Australia, all through Europe. Just started putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and then you look at the talent roster, and then, look at venues and just everything that goes with it, and it's really been a step-by-step process.
All right, now you kind of touched on this. GFW has been putting together a very talented roster, in my opinion. How involved are you in the actual signing or scouting process of this?
Very hands-on. I mean, it's something that, when I first started going out to the shows, over a year ago now, and just looked at all the, I'll say that there's, there's a couple of different ways to look at it, but you can call it the seasoned talent that is out there that is on the free agent market. You can see the completely undiscovered talent that's out on the free agent market, and then you can look at guys, like a Bullet Club who basically New Japan is their full-time job, but they have certain open dates. So there was just loads and loads and loads of talent out there, and the undiscovered talent is something that I've always really enjoyed, looking at talent, finding new talent, and then giving them an opportunity. And that's what a lot of guys just need is, is just that opportunity to step on a grand stage.
All right, now you kind of touched on this. GFW has been putting together a very talented roster, in my opinion. How involved are you in the actual signing or scouting process of this?
Very hands-on. I mean, it's something that, when I first started going out to the shows, over a year ago now, and just looked at all the, I'll say, the different ways to look at it, but you can call it the seasoned talent that is out there that is on the free agent market. And then you can look at guys, like a Bullet Club who basically New Japan is their full-time job, but they have certain open dates. So there's just
Yeah, you make a really good point there. We work with a few local independent promotions here in the central Pennsylvania area, and we go to these shows and we're like, oh, these guys just need a chance. That's all they need is just a shot, one set of eyes to follow them the right way, and they're good. So it's great to have another promotion out there that's willing to look at young talent and not only just bank on superstars that have been made already.
Yeah, it's the lifeblood of it's truly the lifeblood of the business, and it's something that, going back to the TNA days, giving guys brand new opportunity and putting them on a stage, and as the weeks and months and obviously the years roll along, they develop into bona fide superstars. So it's a part of the business that I really, really enjoy.
Absolutely, I can understand that concept as well. So many of the wrestling shows today that we see seem to focus more on storylines and the drama aspect of wrestling, much more than the wrestling itself. I feel like you've taken a pretty different stance with Global Force, and that Global Force Wrestling will stand on the wrestling itself. What brought you to that decision?
Well, you know what? In wrestling, in life, there's always certain shades of drama. But the thing that I really, before I was a promoter, I was a wrestler, obviously, and there's a real story behind every person that gets in this business that laces up a pair of boots. Why do they get in? What drives them? What are their aspirations? What are their goals? What makes them tick? What doesn't make them tick? What are their existing relationships that's going on in their everyday life, whether it's a wife or a girlfriend or kids or parents or uncles or mentors or whatever it may be. We want to document these stories and be very authentic about it, and that's what we're doing. You're obviously going to have drama / storylines. It goes on and sporting every day. That's what sports talk radio revolves around. The latest today is the drama of the University of Louisville basketball team, and a couple of weeks ago it was Deflategate. So there's always storylines and drama, not just in professional wrestling, in life, and it's part of it. But we're also going to let our professional wrestling stand, like you said. That's from bell to bell action. That is what we are. We're not sports entertainment. We'll be professional wrestling, and very happy to be that.
Awesome.
Now, so far you've assembled a fantastic women's division, and from what we saw at the one live show we attended, they seem to be given a lot of freedom in the ring. How do you view the women's division in wrestling overall, as it seems to be flourishing in the indie circuit, and then it seems to struggle to catch on at times in larger promotions?
Well, my track record speaks for itself. I have always been a huge proponent, big fan of girls that are athletic, that women get in there and deliver hard-hitting action. And I think there's not just a place, I think there's a huge place in it. And especially in 2015 and as we head to 2016, you look at Ronda Rousey. It's a perfect example, not to beat that into the ground, but because being used her as an analogy can sort of wear thin at times. But it's a perfect example, and you could go on and on about I just say women in athletics, whether it's the WNBA or women's soccer or whatever it may be. But it's the women. It's not just a man's sport anymore, to say the least.
Yeah, and we've, as 3 Count Thursday, have always been really big fans of women's wrestling. Not necessarily the diva, but the actual women that can get into a ring and can put on entertaining matches. Almost like what they're doing down in NXT. I'm not sure if you watch any NXT or anything like that, but really. If
professional wrestling's out there, I watch it all. But yeah, they're doing a marvelous, a fantastic job with it. But at the end of the day, it drills right down to the talent. They have the talent. Those women have the talent to have an Iron Man match, to be able to take their game to another level. It all drills down to talent.
No, you're absolutely right. We're going to kind of dig a little bit in here with Global Force. I had a question from one of our listeners. They wanted to know why did you decide to use the 6-sided ring over the traditional 4-sided square circle in Global Force Wrestling, and how impactful were you in that decision when you were in TNA?
Well, it was, there's no secret that I went to Mexico way back in, 2003, 2004, and I like the look of it. I think at the end of the day, you can have a 4-sided, a 6-sided, an octagon. At times it can be truly irrelevant because, people don't tune in or buy a ticket or not buy a ticket because of the how many sides your ring has. But with that being said, it's very obvious WWE is the not 800-pound gorilla, they're the 8,000-pound gorilla, got over 90% market share. And so when you are sampling a product such as Global Force Wrestling and you're a wrestling fan, when you immediately turn it on, you know that it's okay, that's not WWE. And that's not to say what they do it better than anybody else. They're sports entertainment. They invented the term, created the term, and continue and will always do it better than anybody else. But Global Force Wrestling, I wanted to differentiate ourselves from the standard bearer, and that's what we a lot of I'll call it professional and unprofessional research went into the color schemes and the green that we use, and that tied back into the look of we'll call it the look of the show, the branding, the graphics. The 6 sides fits into a globe better. Just there's multiple reasons, but at the end of the day, what I'll say is it's all going to be about bell to bell and the presentation of the product.
For the action inside of the ring. And by the way, I love the green. I really do. I thought it popped. It was something that I haven't seen live before when I caught you guys live. So I love the green. It was a great choice for me.
Great. So were you in Vegas in July? What show did you come to?
We actually caught your show in Harrisburg.
Oh, gotcha. Great. That's right. Good.
Yep. Which kind of led me right to my next question. We had the opportunity to cover you in Harrisburg for this summer. We did a good write-up, took a lot of pictures. How would you assess the ballpark tour overall?
For brand awareness, it far outseeded my expectations, and it's something that, every ballpark we went to, and you guys got a very unique, you got a great ballpark right there on that island in Harrisburg. But every market we went to, at the end of the night, the general manager, I didn't have to go up to them, they came up to me, and they said, we love what you're doing, you're building a brand, we want you back next year. So when we, it was last January, well, actually a little bit before that, but when I really started getting into I call it the DNA of minor league baseball teams, you really find out just what well-run organizations they have. Obviously they have their existing fan base, and they have, 2 or 3 marketing folks. They got a digital team. So for me to partner up with the 20-some-odd teams and be able to tap in and use their social media resources and leverage all of their media relationships, whether it's television, or whether it's radio, whether it's print, whatever it be, we created a lot of brand awareness in the markets that we went into, and that is something, we saw our numbers, we see our digital numbers increase over time, and it just, at this day and age, to build a brand from scratch, it just doesn't happen overnight. That's the reality that's the true realities of it. But it is something that when we partner with those teams, it did nothing but escalate and create in each market the overall awareness of Global Force Wrestling.
Okay, awesome. And you had touched on this next one a little bit earlier. That the Global Force has working agreements with other pro wrestling companies, AAA, New Japan, I believe TNA. How do you think the companies together as a whole can work together to bring the best shows that they are capable of bringing, respectively?
Well, I mean, it's there's no real short answer to that because I think it's on a case-by-case basis. But the quickest answer I can give you is that each promotion at one time or another, you can call it, has the big show, has their version of WrestleMania or whatever you want to have. When you have those set of circumstances, it behooves all of us to try to make each of our big shows even bigger. Talent exchange is always keep things fresh. And then the different styles of wrestling is something that I'm a big fan of. That to tune in, you can see a hard-hitting style, strong style from New Japan, and then the lucha style from Mexico, and take a little bit of, because the independent scene in the United Kingdom right now, I've never seen it this hot, and there's talent there that they've got a mix of style, so to speak. Obviously the traditional European mat wrestling, but then they've got high flyers. All of us don't have to quote unquote marry one another as far as promotions, but have handshake agreements. And when the time is right, the appropriate time is right to help one another out, it helps all of us.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming taped event. We have a taping again this Friday that is for the AMP shows. What are you most excited about with these cards and with all the championship matches that are going to be taking place? Overall, what is the goal for the tape shows?
Well, I mean, it's not to put too much levity to it, but history will be made this Friday. Obviously, WWE's got a 70-year lineage of their titles. Well, day one is this Friday for the Global Force Wrestling titles, and so history will be made, and we'll look back on, and I can remember when there was the very first TNA champion, Ken Shamrock, and you just look at different things as time evolves. That you continue to build. Like I said, the ballpark shows were a building block to create brand awareness. Well, Friday in Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena, we're going to crown our first global champion, our first tag team champion, our first women's champion, and our first next gen champion, and they'll go down in the record books as being the very first champions. That excites me as a fan more than anything.
All right. And that is taking place, you said, in Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, Nevada, Orleans Arena. Those folks have been fantastic partners to work with on our 3-show deal. We're in discussions on where our next ones are going to be held, but we are all eyes are laser focused on this Friday. They're not to get into cheap plug, but you can go to our YouTube channel. It's at GFW Wrestling on YouTube. That's all of our social media platforms. The easiest is just to go to our website, globalforcewrestling.com. And check out the preview videos, because there are some really, really intriguing docu-style, and our production folks, Kevin Sullivan and the rest of them, really, A, they've worked their butt off, but B, they've really sunk their teeth into these previews, and they're just, to me, compelling is the word that I like to use, because it's real, it's authentic, and it's all eyes headed toward Vegas this Friday on who's going to be the champions.
History will be made this Friday in Las Vegas. Jeff, I got one final question for you here, and it's kind of a big picture question. What, in your words, is the big picture for Global Force Wrestling? Ultimately, is it to promote events like we saw you guys doing New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 9 when you promoted that in the States? Would it be to have a weekly show to compete with Ring of Honor or TNA or Raw? And ultimately, where do you see Global Force Wrestling in 5 years?
Well, it's I think I used this term a couple of months ago when I was getting these type questions. And I'll say this loosely, a fully functioning promotion with all of the above that you mentioned obviously is the goal. It's a step-by-step process. Our folks, Boulder Creek International, who's our international agency, they just got back from MIPCOM and Sportel, and I'm getting the updates and the recaps and all that. So we the simple goal is if you're a wrestling fan, I want you to be able to watch it, consume it, however you want to say. So we're working with all forms of distribution models. That's not to say that's one part of it. Live events is another part of it. Licensing is another part of it. What you just said, the co-shows, well, with New Japan last year was super successful. They've got their streaming service up and running, so we're probably not going to revisit that. But there's opportunities in Mexico, and then next week we have our very first event in the United Kingdom next Wednesday and Friday, and it's something that, again, as a brand new promotion, we chose not to go to the Londons and the Glasgows and where the established promotions go. We're going into smaller markets where, quite frankly, they hadn't had the opportunity to see live professional wrestling on this scale. And so ticket sales are great. We're very excited about it. So it's a step-by-step basis. To go back to specifically answer your question, 5 years, that's a hard one to ask. But fully functioning promotion is the direction we're headed. It's like I said, it truly is in 2015 and beyond. The world of distribution, and I won't call it because it's more than TV. Because as you guys know, 5 years ago, you probably weren't even considering a podcast. Now with podcasts,
absolutely,
streaming services, your Netflix and Hulu's of the world, and then you take a step back and you still got your basic cable and the 3 different tiers of cable. There's just so many different ways to consume programming that 5 years from now, who knows where the world of technology, because that's really what's driving everything in not just in wrestling, on the planet, is the technology, the Periscope, there's the Snapchat, all these different forms of what, I won't call them kids, the millennials, and where that's taking us. Professional wrestling has got to stay up with the times, and that's something that me and my team, you really can't look, what are you going to do next month? Because by the time next month gets here, technology's changed. So we really are trying to look as far down the road. 5 years may be a little tough, but it's more like a 24 to 36 month plan, and that's something that we're in the middle of strategizing.
Awesome, fantastic. Jeff, I want to give you some time here to plug your social medias again, plug your website, and let us know about any upcoming shows where you can catch Global Force Wrestling. If you're not familiar with Global Force, where to go to familiarize yourself with your brand.
I don't like to do too many plugs, so I keep it real simple. My Twitter is @RealJeffJarrett. That's @RealJeffJarrett. And then the website is real simple, globalforcewrestling.com. And you can go there and you can roster. You can look at all of our social media platforms, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them are there. So it's real simple, globalforcewrestling.com and @RealJeffJarrett. That'll be the one-stop shop. And I appreciate you guys' time today. And yeah, I'd love to come back and revisit when the time is right. We can continue this Global Force Wrestling talk as well as past, present, and future.
Oh, Jeff, we will look forward to it. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us today. Jeff Jarrett, everybody, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. You as well. Well, folks, there you have it. That's Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett joining us today for a chat. Thank you so much to him. We appreciate his time. Folks, if you have not heard of Global Force Wrestling, you heard him there, go check it out, Global Force Wrestling. Check out their website. Get to a show. The shows are fantastic. It's always a great time. We had a blast covering him in Harrisburg. We hope to have him on again. We'll love to talk his past, what got him to the point. Today we definitely wanted to concentrate on talking about the future, where Global Force Wrestling was going and where you can find out anything about GFW. You heard it here. History happens this Friday night, Global Force Wrestling. Thank you